Last year, I bought an MFT table. I really enjoyed having it, and it was a big decision to buy one. And then not long after, I bought a second one. Some of you might say, why would you buy one of them, let alone two of them? Well, first of all, I bought them used. So I got a really good deal on the first one and an even better deal on the second one. The second one came with an extra top, and the second top is brand new, never been used. So I thought that's not a bad deal. The first one came with support brackets for the legs, so that really stiffened them up. And then when I added the brackets to join them together, they really locked up pretty good, and they were actually pretty sturdy. Also, I thought a long time about making my own, but then I figured, well, then I'm going to need a precision jig. I could drill them myself and measure and do all that if I wanted to, and there's ways around it. If I bought the tables, everything's going to be square and all that. Well, when I used it for a bit, I realized that, it's not that easy to get it square. I just mean that when you have a piece like this at the end attached and it's plastic, and then you have this piece on a bar, and as soon as you want to crank this down, I felt like it would kind of, when you got to this piece, it would want to move it a little bit out of maybe a half a degree or a degree. I know that's kind of being picky, I guess, but when you can just stick a bar with the two fence dogs into the holes and you're basically 90 super fast and it's rock solid. The only thing is, if you want to do something other than, a 90-degree cut, then you probably will have to go back to this. Some people might not have a problem with it, and you can get it square, and I have. It was just kind of time consuming. But I just figured, well, there's got to be a better way. So I started looking online and stuff like that. And I figured, well, okay, maybe I'll just change the fence. Maybe I'll put a different fence on there or get something from bench dogs or whatever, whatever the situation is. Figure something out. And then I was at my local Princess Auto, and they happen to have some of the 80/20 aluminum extrusion that they're just clearing it out. So I started looking at ways to attach that on there. Like, what are my options for attaching the aluminum extrusion and having it right into the dog holes? Here, there's no problem whatsoever. Here I get two flip stops. Nice, easy to move. These aren't locked down at all. So basically, you can just lift this thing right up and move it. So if you want to do cuts that are closer, you want to do a half size or whatever, put it to wherever you want. Having double stops is nice as well. So if you want it closer, you're only cutting, maybe you're cutting upper cupboards. You don't have to have it all the way to the back. So I started looking around and I found a couple of things online where, I can use the ones from Bench Dog, which is in the UK. The shipping is outrageous because I watched other videos of people having stuff sent from the UK to Canada, and the shipping was like 35% of the cost of the whole thing. So I started looking on eBay. There was a set of dogs that would attach to the fence. And then when I went to order them, I couldn't even get them. They weren't even really my first choice anyway because they were slotted from the top. They weren't fixed all the way around like the ones uh, from Bench Dogs. So I wasn't super happy with that. So then I'm looking just for whatever reason at Temu, and I'd never ordered anything from Temu. And what do I see? I see that they have the Bench Dogs, and they're like dirt cheap, like 20 bucks or whatever Canadian. So I ordered them, and this is what I have on right now. So At first, I put the aluminum extrusion on there, and that was pretty good. But then, I didn't really have any stops for it, so I would have had to buy stops. What I wound up doing is attaching the fence dogs from Temu to the rail that came from FESTOOL. Here's a brand new Temu fence dog right out of the package. The problem with it is this part here is so big that when you have the FESTOOL fence down, the problem is you can't screw this down because it's too big and it pushes up the fence. So unfortunately, I had to order these off of Amazon. Same thread, just smaller. And with those on, then you have no problem because it'll sit down and you can tighten it up. Because I have two MFT tables, I also have all the kit that came with it, meaning two fences, two rails. I have everything with it. So I could put the two fences together, which made the length of the whole table. And it also gave me two flip stops. The ones from Festool are okay. Like, I'm not super crazy about them. They could be a little more robust. And I've heard, like, I haven't really had any problem, but I don't push super hard on it when I'm cutting. But I've heard of them moving and flexing a little bit. But I think with anything, if you just take it easy and don't ram your material in against it, it should be fine. So anyway, I set that up where I have both my Festool fences attached to the Temu fence dogs. As far as aligning the rail to the fence has been super easy. Couple of reasons it's been easy is because I've ordered Temu style giant triangle. Whenever I did put the square on after, I mean it was bang on and super fast doing it that way. Now with my track saw, I run the Makita because when I started out, I wasn't sure if I'd even like a track saw. So I bought the Makita because it was a lot cheaper than the Festool one. And another reason I bought the Makita one was because it basically had pretty much the same track as a Festool. So that I figured every time I looked at ordering stuff um, for Festool or Makita, every time I looked at it, they basically fit each other like no problem. So they kind of went back and forth. So I figured here's a way to get into it. And I thought, well, if I really like the Makita and I want to spend the extra money down the road, I can get the Festool. But since I've had the Makita, I've been super happy with it. It cuts super clean. It's been really good. And it really, I mean, I can't justify buying another one. Like if it broke, maybe I'd get a Festool. But chances are I'd probably just get another Makita one because it's been so good. But it cuts super clean, no tear out whatsoever. And that's even just using the blade that comes with the Makita. I've been super happy with the Makita blades. I've used it to cut countertops on great big built-ins that I've done, and I've done like where I've been cutting stuff that's needs to be super square, super accurate, or super tall, like some of these bookcases that I just made for a customer, which were like they were around 92 inches high, which is pretty big, almost a full 8 foot sheet. We have a panel saw that we can put them in, which is pretty accurate, but it was just as easy to just use the track saw. So just because I have the Makita, I have actually two Makita rails. So I have one that's short, the shortest one, which is what I use on my MFT table. Works great, works with all the Festool stuff. And then I have a longer one at 55 inches, which also happens to have a 90-degree track saw square attached to it. Originally, I had a plastic one, and it was like, it was kind of not really, I wasn't really happy with it because I couldn't move it. It was like fixed right at the end. So I bought, this is something else I bought from Temu, which happened to be the Tracksaw square. And it's been bang on. Like when I put two pieces of countertop together, like they are lined up like absolutely perfect. And it wasn't very expensive, again, 50 or $60. Whereas if I ordered one of the big brand name ones, I'm looking at like around $300. And I'm really not getting any squarer than this. So really, I bought some of this stuff just to try out and see if I'd like it, and then I'd get something better or get something better if it didn't work out. But it's been so good, it's been so accurate for me that I haven't really even bothered or cared. So that's all been good. As far as my MFT tables go, they've been great. And another reason that I bought them is because I thought, well, if I don't like them, and I bought them used, both of them, so for about half the price of new, and they were in great shape. I figured, well, I can get my money back, build my own table and all that stuff, and go that route. But this has been great so far. The only things I might do to it is build a couple extension tables. I've looked at a few where there isn't really a lot out there for building extension tables for that. So that might be something if I build it. Maybe we could take a look at it in a later video, but it won't be too long before I do that. You can cut a kitchen on this like super quick. So it's been good that way. Super stable, especially having two together. Having one without the support brackets on the legs, I'm not so sure about. It is kind of wobbly. Really, there's only a couple others that compare to it, and maybe they might be a little bit better, but they're also quite a bit more money. And we're talking about Bench Dogs just put one out last fall, last summer, something like that. And there's also the other one that's from Dashboard, and that is super expensive. Like I priced that out, like to have a table that's this long, and it was like, it was in the thousands. Whereas this thing here, um, it's been super reasonable. So like all this, maybe I think I paid less money for both of these than one of them brand new, and I wound up with full complete sets plus the extra legs plus the extra top. So I think I made out really well. That's why I wouldn't mind buying a third table if I could find one for a really good deal. uh, I found one actually not too long ago. It was like $500 or whatever for the whole thing, and I kind of thought about, do I really want a third table? And by the time I thought about it, it was already gone. So when you see one of these come up and in used, you really got to jump on it quick because they don't last for. I've also found one of the extension tables for this. They're about $400 Canadian. It's got one set of U-shaped legs with adjustable feet, and yeah, that's. I saw one of them for maybe it was like, I think it was like $250 or whatever. Again, I hesitated, gone in hours. So, but again, I'm not even so sure that I really need that. So, if you're thinking about getting one of these, then I definitely would pick it up if you can get it for a good deal, say half the price. Try it out, and if you don't like it, they're easy to get rid of, and then you can always go the other route of building your own. And hey, I might build my own one day. It's just that with all the work I got going on and everything like that, um, it just, I didn't really have the time. Also, I have access to a full size panel saw plus a big cabinet saw with a slider on it. And so, it wasn't something that really I had to have, but it's just kind of nice to have, and it's convenient. And it's also been great. I just want to add, it's been great for sanding, like sanding doors and stuff like that. Just the table's a good height, even though I'm tall, I'm 6'3", and be able to lock stuff down and stuff like that. So that's been great. So anyway, thanks for watching, and till next time, take care.